Jaya Keshava Goswami Jaya Gurudeva Keshava Goswami Jaya Goswami Jaya Gurudeva Keshava Goswami Jaya Gurudeva Keshava Goswami Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Keshava Goswami Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
I was thinking that Vijay is not here, all his friends are here. And also I want feeling for my daughter and your brother, the elder. He is doing well, perhaps. Very good. Now we should begin our classes. My book for my Gurudev I gave to translate Prem Prayojan, and he is doing. He will tell something. He was telling so beautiful and okay. He should again something. He can speak again. Again, Bhaktivar.
The book of Param Gurudev.
So many things you are speaking, you should speak more. And then others will speak. That how he was born. Especially, he was Guru Nishtha. What is the meaning of Guru Nishtha? Taking his life in his hands to do anything for his Gurudev, because his Gurudev was so bona fide. So his life and soul he wanted to offer for his Gurudev. So this should be like this. Nowadays, bogus persons, fallen persons, knowing nothing, they are struggling for Ritvik, to be Ritvik. You should always be very careful for bogus Ritviks. Ritviks has no portfolio in Krishna consciousness. All who are rejected, characterless persons, and they cannot help anyone. They want to be Ritvik, or they want to be Guru again, but in disguise, in the name of Ritvik. So you should be careful. My book is given here. You should try to give some here. If they need it without any
payment.
price, you should try to display. You should keep with some with
Rishikesh Maharaj, he's brought one box, 60 copies. He bought this morning, so he has one box.
Yes,
Where
yes.
everyone
In
is-
Malaysia and here also.
Yes, both.
We are deadly against this rhythmic system, bogus system. In our line, Guru Parampara, there is no rhythmic system anywhere. You can speak something. You should try to hear very patiently and try to observe all these teachings to be a very bona fide disciple. You should come on. What are you doing there? What you are doing there? Oh, you should come in front always. Otherwise, you twist your ears. Always in front of me. If you want to learn something, never sit behind. And if you want to sleep, oh, you can do that. No.
Guru Gaurachanda Radhikari Chudale Krishna Bhaktaya Advaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Pada Acharya Singharupine Srimad Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Pt2 Atimarcha Charitraya Sasritanam Chapaline Jivadukare Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayane. First of all, I offer my Dhanavad Pushpanjali thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Guru Pada Padma, Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sattva Rupanu Gajanya Varda Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev Nityalila Bhavistam Vishnu Pada Stotra Sattva Sri Srimad Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, by whose mercy we are celebrating his auspicious appearance day today. I offer my pranam at the lotus feet of my Guru Varga, and I offer respect to all these humble Vaishnavas. So Srila Gurudeva has ordered me to continue to try to glorify the wonderful character, personality and life of Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj, his character and personality had all sides. When it was required, he was very, very strong and very, very harder than a thunderbolt. And with those who were very surrendered to him, those who took shelter to him, those who were showing interest in the path of bhakti, he was so kind, he was so soft and so merciful. At once he was a great philosopher, knowing all Veda Vedanta Upanishads and very expert in presenting all different types of arguments. And at the same time as being a great philosopher, he was also very rasik. So I'll try to illustrate some of these aspects of the personality of Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj through some of his pastimes. Once there was some Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He had some land, and there were tenants on that land. They were Muslims, and they were refusing to pay their rent. So Srila Prabhupada, he considered selling the land, but Vinod Brahmachari, he begged him, please don't sell the land, let me try to get the rent. So then Srila Vinod Brahmachari at that time, he went there with some very strong men, and they found the leader, the ringleader, who was leading and inspiring the others to not pay their rent. And they took him and they tied him to a jackfruit tree and had him beaten publicly. And then after that, the whole community were inspired to pay their rent. So when it was required in the service of Guru, he could be very, very strong and very hard. Also the example is, the time is there when after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, then some of his foremost disciples, apparently very elevated and leading disciples, such as Sundarananda Vidyavinod and Ananta Vasudev and others, they gave up the philosophy, they gave up the line of Srila Prabhupada and accepted another philosophy. And having turned against their spiritual master, others were also going and joining them. So at one point, Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava, his own brother, also followed in the footsteps of Sundarananda Vidyavinod and others. So at that time, Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava, he refused to ever see the face of his brother again. He said, from the material consideration, he may be my brother, but because he has gone against my Gurudev, then I never want to see his face ever again. So he had such nishtha in the lotus feet of his Guru, even such a close relative, he could easily reject them for going against his Guru Pada Padma. So Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava was very, very strong, yet at the same time, he was also very soft and loving in his dealings with all of the devotees. Once Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava, he came to Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and he was in his bhajan kutir and chanting Harinam. And at that time, our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, he had been reading the Sri Gopal Champu of Srila Jiva Goswami, and he had just read the section dealing with Damodar Bandhan Leela, the pastime of Yashodamaya binding Krishna around the waist with a rope. So upon reading the explanation of Srila Jiva Goswami, then Srila Gurudev, he was very, very inspired, and being unable to check himself, taking the book under his arm, he immediately went into the bhajan kutir of Param Gurudev and spontaneously began to glorify Srila Jiva Goswami. Oh Gurudev, I have read here Gopal Champu Srila Jiva Goswami, he said. And here we find that although Srila Jiva Goswami is so famous for being a great philosopher, he is also a very Rasik Vaishnav, as can be seen from his conception and explanation of the pastime of Krishna being bound by Madhya Yashoda. So then, Srila Gurudev, he went on to read this pastime from Gopal Champu, how when after Krishna had pulled down the two Yamal Arjuna trees, then they fell down with a very, very powerful, loud, thundering sound. And from all over Braj, everyone heard this, and all the Brajvasis in great anxiety, they came running to that spot. Madhya Yashoda, she came running there, and seeing Krishna, how she tied him, and because of this, now this terrible accident had happened, she became stunned, and she was unable to move, she was unable to speak. And Nanda Baba, he came there, and he saw Krishna, and he was so grateful that Krishna had been saved from such a great calamity. He picked up Krishna, put him in his lap, and he was caressing the limbs of his body to see if he was okay, and smelling his head. And then he asked Krishna, "Oh, my son, who has done this to you? Who has tied you in this way?" And Krishna, he didn't want to say. He didn't want to say. But Nanda Baba, he insisted again and again, "Who has tied you? Who has tied you?" So then, reluctantly, Krishna, he whispered into the ear of his father, "Oh, Maya, Madhya Yashoda, she has bound me." When Nanda Baba heard this, he became very, very grave, and he did not speak. So he undid the knot, and taking Krishna in his on his shoulder and Baldev, then he returned home. And at this time, Nanda Baba, he was quite angry. He did not want to speak with Yashoda. And Yashoda Maya, she was also afraid to go near him because he was so angry. And Krishna also he would not go to be with his mother, but rather he spent the whole day with Nanda Baba. Nanda Baba took him to his council, he took him to the cowshed, and there Nanda Baba was milking the cows, directly milking the udder, so that the milk was squirting directly into Krishna's mouth and Baldev's mouth, and feeding them mishri, and in this way satisfying them so much. And then when the evening time came and he still hadn't spoken with Yashoda, and also Krishna had also not gone to his mother, then at that time Rohini Maya, she came to Nanda Baba and told him of the situation. She had described how, now Mother Yashoda is sitting in the inner chamber of the house, in the ladies' chamber, and she's sitting still, she's not talking, she hasn't eaten anything, she hasn't taken anything to drink the whole day, she's just sitting, and her heart is broken. And all of the elderly gopis in the house, they're all sitting around her, and they're all feeling so sad. They're all crying, and they haven't eaten, they haven't drunk anything the whole day. So then Nanda Baba said, yes, this is the fruit of anger. And one should learn the lesson that this is the fruit of anger. Why was she so cruel to bind Krishna? Then Rohini, she became very upset. She said, you should not use the word cruel in relationship to Yashoda, because she is inside and outside. She is always so soft. She is always so soft. And then the wife of Upananda, she came there and she said to Krishna, you should come and see your mother. And Krishna said, I will not go to my mother. And then she began to laugh, saying, oh yes, you will not go to your mother? Then how will you breastfeed? How will you get milk? Krishna said, no need. Baba will feed me milk directly from the udder of the cow and give me mishri also. I said, and who will you play with? Oh, I will play with Baba and with Dalbaya, with Baldev, like this. So then Rohini, she was crying so much, and Nanda Baba, he said, why won't you go to Rohini? And then Krishna, he said, I will not go to her, because when my mother bound me and I was calling, oh please help me, then at that time she was also there and she did not come. So then Rohini, she sent Baldev, you should go and you bring Krishna to come to his mother. So then Baldev, he came there and he tried to get Krishna, to grab hold of Krishna and bring Krishna to his mother, but he would not go. And ordinarily Baldev is so strong and he can defeat Krishna, but this time Krishna just with a jolt he threw Baldev and he fell flat on the ground, and Baldev was astonished. So then here in Gopal Temple, Jiva Goswami describes how Nanda Baba, he's saying to Krishna, oh, should I beat your mother? You won't go to your mother? Should I beat her for what she's done? But then Krishna is really, his heart is expressed here, because he doesn't want this. And then he, with both hands, he takes hold of the hands of Nanda Baba and said, no, you should not do. And then Nanda Baba, he began to feel in his heart that he knew that Yashoda, her love for Krishna was so pure. And because of separation from Krishna, now she must be feeling so much pain. So then Nanda Baba, he said, if you do not go, then she may, and only sickness with his hand like this, that she may leave, her life may leave her body like this. And then when Krishna heard this, then automatically of his own accord, he reached out towards Rohini Maya, and in the direction of his mother, he wanted to go there of his own accord, independently, like this. So then he began to move towards the direction of his mother, and Rohini Maya, she picked him up and carried him and placed him in the lap of Mother Yashoda. And then when Mother Yashoda was reunited with Krishna, then she began crying and wailing very loudly like a kurari bird. So in the inner court of the house, Mother Yashoda was crying, and Krishna was crying, and all the elderly gopis are also crying. And in the outer portion of the house, Nanda Baba, he was there, and he was also crying. And all of Vrindavan became completely submerged in Vatsalya Bhav. Like this. So when Srila Gurudev, he was reading this to Param Gurudev, and Param Gurudev, he wasn't able to check himself, and he burst out crying uncontrollably, and all the Astasatvika Bhavs were manifest in his body. And at that time, Srila Gurudev has commented that he has only once or twice in his whole life seen such ecstatic symptoms manifest in someone, such deep bhav, as he saw at that time when his Gurudev was remembering this wonderful pastime. So, Param Gurudev, he was also a very, at the same time as being a great philosopher, he was also very rasik. We see that once, at the end of Kartik, when the Kartik Vrat had been completed, Parakram had been completed, many of Param Gurudev's godbrothers, very senior disciples of Srila Jagaguru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they assembled in Keshavji Gaudiya Math. Srila Bhaktiprajnana Maharaj, Bhakti
Dait Madhav Goswami,
Maharaj,
Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod,
Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj,
Rishikesh Maharaj,
and
Jajawar Maharaj, Shrauti Maharaj, so many prominent disciples of Prabhupada.
So many great personalities were assembled there, and therefore, because so many great personalities had come together in one place, a very historic Istagosti ensued. So when this Istagosti began, then Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj, he stood up and very
I was there serving all. What talks are going on, writing in my notebooks. Here, in my computer.
Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj, he stood up and very politely put a question to the assembled Vaishnavas. So he said that I have had a doubt for a very long time, and even though I have studied and gone through all of the Goswami Granthas and commentaries of our acharyas, and even though I have approached many of my senior godbrothers, though he was sannyas, he was the most junior of the sannyasis there, and yet still this doubt has not been dispelled. So he explained the nature of his doubt. He said, in Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a verse, Jivana Swarupakhai Krishnara Nityadas Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Veda Veda Prakash, that the Swarup, or the intrinsic nature of the Jiva, is that he is the Nityadas, the eternal servant of Krishna. Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Veda Veda Prakash. He is a manifestation, inconceivably, a manifestation of the Tatasta Shakti of Krishna, inconceivably one and different from the Supreme Lord. So, Rishikesh Maharaj, he began to explain the nature of his doubt. That is that in this verse, it is stated that it is the Swarup of the Jiva, that he is Krishna's servant. And therefore he said that because it's the Swarup, or the intrinsic nature of the Jiva, to be the servant of Krishna, therefore, all aspects of his eternal service, his name, his form, his appearance, they should be there in the Jiva. But on the other hand, it is stated, Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Veda Veda Prakash. He is a manifestation of the Tatasta Shakti of Krishna. So although in a general sense, he may be the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he's the Tatasta Shakti, it may also be said that his Swarup, or the specific features of his Swarup, are also Tatasta. And therefore, according to his association, he will attain a particular state of perfection in one of the primary rasas, Shantadasha, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. So, what is actually the fact? Is it that all the features of the Jiva are there in a latent position in the Jiva himself? Or is it that because his Tatasta Shakti, is the marginal potency, that the nature of his Swarup is also Tatastha. What is it? So very politely, he offered this question to the Vaishnavas. Upon hearing this, Srila Srila Goswami Maharaj, he was the first to speak. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj...
All requested that you should answer.
So all the Vaishnavas requested Srila Bhaktirakshak Srila Goswami Maharaj to answer this question. So Srila Bhaktirakshak Srila Goswami Maharaj was very learned, a very great philosopher. So he began to give his answer. He said that according to Srila Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas, the Jiva is called Vibhinanks Tattva. In other words, he is Bibin Anks. Bibin means separated, and Anks means part or expansion. That the Jiva is the separated expansion, the separated part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is called Sarva Shaktiman, meaning that he has unlimited variety. He has one potency called Swarup Shakti. And that one Swarup Shakti, it performs unlimited different functions, which have names according to those functions. So therefore it is said, Parasya Shakti Vividhaya Shuryate, that the Absolute Truth has many varieties of pastimes. Though it is Siddhant that Bhagavan has one Shakti, Swarup Shakti, which takes many names according to the functions of that Shakti. So, when Bhagavan is equipped with all of his Shaktis, at that time, when he expands himself, that expansion is called Swangsa. Swangsa. So, all of the avatars and all of the expansions of the Lord in the category of Vishnu Tattva, they're called Swangsa. Those Swangsa are manifest at the time when the Supreme Lord, equipped with all of his potencies, expands himself. That is called Swangsa. But when the Supreme Lord is equipped with only his Tatastha Shakti, at that time...
I will ask whether you are all hearing or not. Very soon I will ask. And if not replying, I will tell them to stand up. Go. Very great subject. And if you are not knowing all these things, then you are really not a pakka bhakta. If you want to be a qualified devotee, you must know all these things. Otherwise your bhakti will be shaken and you can fall down. I know that all the devotees of Swamijis were not giving attention for these things, all going down. So you must try to hear him very carefully. I have written all these things. He is telling all these things. So you should know that it is my version. You should try to hear very patiently.
So when the Supreme Lord is equipped only with his Jiva Shakti, at that time when he expands himself, then those expansions, they are called Vibhinanks Tattva, and they are the Jivas, the separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, because the Supreme Lord has so many qualities in him, his expansions also have qualities in them eternally. They are always there. So it is not that the Swarup of the Jiva is marginal, but rather, just as the Supreme Lord eternally has so many qualities, so the Jiva also has within him, in a latent condition, so many qualities. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said that if we accept that the Jiva, the Swarup of the Jiva, is not fixed, if it is not there as a latent potential within him, then we will come into so many difficulties. How is that? Why? We see that when one of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Murari Gupta. And Murari Gupta, upon associating with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ramachandra, who was the Ishtadev of Murari Gupta, he is the manifestation of Krishna. But Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. And all others, Ete Chansa Kalapungsa, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. All others, they are the manifestations of Krishna. So the worship of Krishna is the highest thing. And Krishna, he is Akila Rasamrita Sindhu. He is the ocean of all ras. He is superior to all other avatars and incarnations. So therefore you should do bhajan to Krishna. So Murari Gupta, he went away and he tried to do bhajan of Krishna. But he wasn't able to do that. His heart would not allow him. He had sold his head at the feet of Ramachandraji. So that night, he was just crying and crying and crying. And in the morning, he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he wanted to give up his life. Because on the one hand, he could not disobey the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But at the same time, he could not give up the service of Sri Ramachandra. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he pacified him. He said, actually, I am so pleased with you. I am not disappointed in you, but I am so pleased with the deep attachment you have for Lord Ramachandra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed, actually, Murari Gupta is Hanuman. So from this pastime, it is illustrated that even by the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, and by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's internal position, one's eternal form, it cannot be changed. So what to speak of associating with any sadhus, even associating with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it could not be changed. On the other hand, parallel to this is the pastime of Anupam. Anupam was the brother of Rupa and Sanatan. And a similar pastime took place where Anupam was advised by Rupa and Sanatan to do bhajan to Krishna, giving up the bhajan of Ramachandra. But again, he was in the same condition, and he could not give up the service of Ramachandraji, even by the association of Rupa Goswami himself and Sanatan Goswami himself. So then another pastime was given by Srila Sridhar Maharaj as evidence. We find that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was traveling in South India and he came to Sri Rangam, there he came into the company and association of Sri Venkatabhata, Sri Trimalabhata, and Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad, and the son of Venkatabhata. His name at that time was Gopal Bhatta, later to become Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So, all of these personalities had received Diksha in the line in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and they were worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there, first of all, he was staying there for the period of Chaturmasya, and for 3 months he did not preach to them. He preached to Gopal Bhatta, who was a small boy, because he was not attached in this way or that way. And he was very young and impressionable, and so Mahaprabhu was preaching to him. But to the older ones, who were more fixed in their ways, he did not preach to them, but rather by associating with him for a 3-month period, they developed some love for him, some affection, some faith in him, and some trust. So at that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he, in a joking way, he began to introduce the idea of this, that Krishna is superior to Narayan. So this whole pastime is narrated in Madhya Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I will not go into that now. But as a result of the preaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkatabhata, Trimalabhata, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, and also Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they came into the line, the conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accepting that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and dedicating themselves to the service of Srimati Radhika. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he explained that the Venkatabhata, Trimalabhata, Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they are the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada Saraswati Part, for example, is actually Tunga Vidyasaki, one of the Astasakis of Srimati Radhika. And these great personalities had descended from the spiritual sky to perform a leela, to perform a pastime, to show that even one may receive diksha or come in any sampradaya, but actually the eternal form within the jiva, it is the swarup of the jiva, it is fixed. So even though they had come in this line, their eternal form was in the service of Radha and Krishna, and therefore when they met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they came into his line. So in this way, Srila Bhaktirakshita Maharaj gave many evidences and very good logic and reason to present the true Siddhanta, that the Swarup of the Jiva, it is not Tatastha. Actually, it is an eternal, intrinsic feature of the Jiva which can never be changed. It is only a question that it should be uncovered. So then, Srila Bhaktirakshita Goswami, he requested our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj, to speak a few words on this subject. So then, Param Gurudev, he stood up and began to explain this topic.
For a moment. Maya is coming in this guise. And he will come and cover you. First it will come and you will cut his jaw. And then he will quickly come on your lips. So heavy. And then you cannot control. And then at once you will. So I want that you should do like this in Kirtan. Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha, and all you should try to do. Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Radha
if you are not doing like so, oh, very powerful Maya, and he will come quickly, and she will sit on your lips. I know that some devotees, they don't do Hari Bol, Hari, they do Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, like this. Then Maya will come at once on his ear. So not like this. Oh, very enthusiastic. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And not doing? Oh, there is something here, nuts. And if you will do like this, it will come in your brain, in your heart. And quickly Maya will go. There are some nerves in your feet. If you dance, oh, every malice will go away. They will affect your brain and they will purify by doing this and also doing this and dancing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered this way. Very easily you can conquer Maya. Otherwise, if any devotee is telling, especially Guru Vaishnava, then we should try to take it by our ears. Standing like, sitting like this, very still. Otherwise, Maya don't want to free any living entity that they should go out of my kingdom, because all will be empty, and then she will be very worried.
Nothing to do.
So you should be always careful from this. You should listen always.
So then, Srila Bhaktiprajnana Goswami Maharaj.
You can come nearer. Oh, make a place. Prabhu, you should come forward. You should come. Yes.
Srila Bhaktiprajnana Goswami Maharaj, having spoken, then he requested Param Gurudev
and all
to
requested.
speak. So then, Param Gurudev stood up and very politely thanked Srila Bhaktiprajnana Maharaj for his wonderful explanation, and said that as far as I have read in all of the Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures, whatever I have seen confirms and supports the explanation given by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Then Param Gurudev began to give a further explanation on this subject. First of all, he explained that to understand the Swarupa of the Jiva, then a very simple example can be given. The example of a seed. If there are so many seeds, like the seed of mango tree, jackfruit tree, banyan tree, so many seeds, and they are planted on the bank of a river, then those seeds, they are planted in the same soil. They receive the same rainfall, the same sunlight, the same gardener taking care of them. And even though they have all of the same treatment and same facility, yet those individual seeds, the mango seed will grow into a mango tree and bear mango fruit. The jackfruit seed will grow into a jackfruit tree and bear jackfruit. The banyan seed will grow into a banyan tree, because the potential was already there in the latent position within the seed. So all jivas have the same nature, they have a similar nature. This is an example to show how all jivas, they have their own particular form, particular natures in a latent position within them. And by hearing Harikatha from pure Vaishnavas, then the form which is already there will come out. Then Param Gurudev, he gave another example. He explained that at the time of a particular stellar constellation called the Swati Nakshatra, then when rain falls, then that rain, it produces different items when it comes in contact with various receptacles. For example, when the rain of the Swati Nakshatra comes in contact with the oyster shell, then at that time a pearl will be produced. When the rain at the time of Swati Nakshatra comes in contact with the horns of a cow, then Garochan is produced. When the rain of the Swati Nakshatra, it comes in contact with an elephant, then the Gajamukta is produced, the elephant pearl. When it comes in contact with a snake, then the Sarpamani, the jewel which comes from a snake, is produced. And when it comes in contact with bamboo, with the bamboo tree, then the camphor. Oh, when it comes in contact with the banana tree, then the camphor is produced. And when it comes in contact with the bamboo tree, then it produces Vansalochan. So this is the same water coming from Swati Nakshatra. The water is the same, but falling into different receptacles, then different things are produced. So in the same way, when the pure sadhu, he speaks Harikatha, then in this way, the jiva, he becomes nourished by the Swarup Shakti, the essence of Samvit and Ladhini, Bhakti Shakti. And being nourished by this, then the potential which is within him, it comes out. So then Param Gurudev, he gave a very wonderful example from the Jaiva Dharma of Srila Bhaktiprajnana Thakur, that two devotees, Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, they both approached the same Guru and they heard Harikatha from him. Yet, when their anarthas went away, then their inclinations, different inclinations were aroused. Brajanath's inclination was to serve Krishna in Sakyaras, whereas Vijay Kumar's inclination was to serve Radha Krishna in Madhurya Ras. So they were having the same Sangha and hearing the same Harikatha, and yet different inclinations were aroused. So this proves that the potential is within the jiva. It is not coming, it is not born of association. Then Param Gurudev gave another example to further establish this very strong point. That in Bhagavatamrita, we see that Gopkumar was travelling to many, many places. And when he met with Narad and Uddhav, then first of all, they ascertained the nature of his internal inclination and gave him instructions accordingly. And also we see that throughout Bhagavatamrita, that Gopkumar is associating with many different people, with Hanuman, with Uddhav, with Narad, and yet even associating with such high-class devotees, his internal feeling was never changed. So then Param Gurudev explains that if the soul is naturally in a higher ras, then taking the association and doing bhajan in a lower ras, then after some time that devotee, he will feel dissatisfied and he will hanker for something more, and he will go on and on and on. Then, as a further evidence, Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj turned to the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sanbodan Bhasyan, on the Shikshastikam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, particularly the verse Chaito Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nivarapanam Surakareva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Here it is described very clearly, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that when the chitta, the very fine covering of the soul, becomes cleansed, then at that time Surakareva Chandrika Vitaranam, and when the Swarup Shakti begins to manifest within the heart, then Vidyavadhu Jivanam, then the internal form of the jiva, whatever form is inherently already there, will come out. And those who have the eligibility for Madhurya Ras, they will feel themselves, I am the eternal maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written this very clearly in his commentary on the Shikshastikam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then, Param Gurudev, he began to explain that as the sadhak, he goes on doing bhajan, and his anarthas are gradually cleansed away, then he comes into the stage of ruchi. And this ruchi is a particular type of ruchi. And by the particular type of ruchi in the sadhak, then he gets a clue, some indication of his eternal form. And as he goes on doing bhajan, then when he comes into the stage of asakti, then he will have to take the association of a guru who is in the same mood as he is according to his internal identity. Therefore Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has written, Srimad Bhagavatanam Ashvado Rasika Saha Swajatayasha Snigde Sadhu Sangha Swatobare. One must taste the meanings of Srimad Bhagavatam in the company of a Rasik Vaishnav. And more than that, Swajatayasha Snigde Sadhu Sangha Swatobare. Doing Sadhu Sangha with a Vaishnav who is superior to oneself and who is also Snigde. That means that he is particularly disposed to one with great affection. And also Swajataya Shaye, meaning being Swajat in the same mood. In other words, that sadhu has a particular mood, and you also have a particular eternal mood. So you have to come into the association of such a sadhu who has the same inherent mood as you. And then, by gradually hearing from him the abhas of the Chit Swarup, in other words, the semblance of one's internal identity will manifest in the heart. Then, and only then, at that time, will such a very rasik and self-realized Vaishnav impart Ekadas Bhav, or all the internal characteristics of the Swarup of that sadhak, just to help him come into the stage of Swarup Siddhi. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, he has written, Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavasa sadanabhida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. Such an advanced devotee, he's really a sadhak. And by the mercy of his Bhajan Shiksha Guru, then what will happen? Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. That the nitya siddha bhav, the eternal mood, which is nitya siddh, it is already established there within his heart, prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. That prakat, that mood which is already there, will become manifest. So this is the conclusion of all the disciplic acharyas, of Srila Rupa Goswami, of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Jiva Goswami. This conclusion has been confirmed by Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj has also very eloquently and brilliantly, with such expert logic and also Shastric evidences, established this point. So upon hearing this, all of the Vaishnavas became so elated, they were overjoyed. And Sripad Rishikesh Maharaj, he stood up and said, I would like to thank Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj for dispelling this doubt which I had harbored within my heart for such a very long time.
Right. Thank you. Pundarik, Sriman Pundarik Brahmachari will speak something. You should try to understand all these logics. And if you are not understanding, again you should ask me or anyone who knows. Don't be lazy in these things. Oh, I cannot understand. I will not understand. Never you should. Really, this is called Ist Goshti or Bhajan. A Guru comes to help the devotees in this way. And if Gurudev is not helping devotees in this way, he is not good. Only taking some money, prestige and all these things, and not giving all these things, then he is a bogus Guru. He should be rejected. And by following that Guru, you cannot have Braja Prem or Krishna Prem, which is the life, which is the goal of the life. So you should try to realize all these things.
This lecture, Maharaj, is this lecture
in the
is
book.
Here?
The lecture
Yes.
is there
This
about
Swarup of the Jiva is
I've written all these things
in this book.
in this book, and so many things are in this book. You can have this book, and it will help you in your sadhana bhajan. You should all try to collect.
Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanuga Shri Keshava Bhaktiprajnana Mayavadata Gauriya Vedanta Veta Mayavadata Mahanta Gauravani Prachara Charadham Vanchakalpaturhya Chitrapa Sindhubhya Ivicha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my heartfelt pranams at the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj and beg for his causeless mercy so that I can explain something which I have heard from him. And I also pay my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas who are present here, and I'll try to say something which I have understood. Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj has given many wonderful instructions for us to follow. And the very first instruction which he has given is that only and only by intimately serving our Gurudev we can achieve pure bhakti. There's no other way possible. So we see, as he has given these instructions, he has also followed them in his life. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had many wonderful disciples who were very great in many aspects. They were learned, they were scholars, they were pure devotees, they know the philosophy, they could convince people to follow, and they can bring people in the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and thus they were fulfilling his innermost desires. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur never addressed any of his disciples except the two with intimate words. Like in Bengali and Hindi, we have a different address for those who are very much close to us or very dear to us. We call them tum, tumi, like that. And those who are elder to us, we address them aap or apani, like that. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to address all his disciples as aap or apani, never saying tum or tumi. But to Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj and to Paramananda Prabhu, he always addressed them as tumi or tum. So this shows that how dear they were and intimate to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And thus they were able to imbibe all of his inner moods and his spirit also, his deep emotions, to carry out the words of Srila Bhaktiprajnana Thakur, Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they carried his message all over the world. And they carried it with so much strength and conviction that people would definitely have to bow down in front of them. Nobody could defeat them, nobody could refute their arguments. They were so strong and bold in their speech. I had the fortune to go through one of the last sections of Srila Param Gurudev's Lilamrit, which Srila Guru Maharaj has recently compiled in Hindi. That book has been published. When we go in India, we'll have that. And Sri Premprojin Prabhu and other brahmacharis, they're also trying to do the English translation of it. So in the last section, Srila Guru Maharaj has explained how Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Maharaj has written very wonderful Vaishnava literatures, and they are ornamented with the Gaudiya Vedanta philosophy, all the teachings, all the doctrines, and also they're so melodious and they're full of so much sweet nectarian pastimes and so much internal emotions that if we go through them with sincerity and in the same mood as he's trying to tell us, we will definitely realize that who he is, and by his mercy we can also imbibe those moods. So when in his explanation of Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Tattavashtakam, where he is explaining how Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna, when he goes on, then Sri Guru Maharaj writes that once when they were hearing this explanation from Param Guruji, then he explained that once when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had displayed his disappearance pastime on this planet, then afterwards he happened to visit Prayag, Nilabad, and he was staying there with Sri Abhay Charanarvinda Prabhu, that is Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. At that time he was Sri Abhay Charan Prabhu. So he was staying with him, and they used to have very nice exchanges and also very deep discussions in philosophy. And Srila Param Guru Maharaj was very well known throughout since he joined the mutt for his sharp and intelligence and presence of mind. His logics were so appropriate and so exact that even great advocates would become stunned, and they could not resist to come and have his advice on many different topics which they could not reconcile. So, when he was staying there was one friend of Sri Avecharan Prabhu who was an advocate in the High Court in Allahabad. He used to visit Sri Avecharan Prabhu, and when Param Guruji was present there, then Sri Avecharan Prabhu introduced him to Param Guruji, and at that time also Param Guruji was known as Kriti Ratna Prabhu, and this title was given to him by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself. So he introduced him to Param Guruji and told him how he was so
very good, high class of philosopher.
High class of philosopher. Oh, Kriti Ratna. Kriti means fame, and Ratna means jewel. So his expertise and his qualities to understand the
Kriti
philosophy.
means not fame only. Activities.
Accomplishments.
Yes, like this. That is Krishna Bhakti. In all activities, Bhakti is so much high and prominent. So this is like a jewel, not ordinary jewel. What kind of jewel? It can give like Achintamani or desired stone. So he gave that he has so much Guru Nishtha. Guru Nishtha means
Faith in the lotus feet of his Guru.
Unflinching faith.
and he has so much strong faith in Krishna Bhakti. So he gave this title to our Guru.
So when this advocate came to know the glories of Sri Kriti Ratna Prabhu, and as he was talking, and he was very much impressed by his eloquent, sweet speech and wonderful way of expressing most intricate philosophical conclusions. So he liked him very much, and what he did, another day when he came, he brought along with him another person who was a bishop, church bishop. And this person was also well known in that area as a very great philosopher, a Christian philosopher. And he was also a very strong preacher of Christianity. So when they all came together, then this advocate introduced Kriti Ratna Prabhu with this church bishop, and they were sitting together. And he himself, this advocate, in order to just kind of ignite a wonderful discussion, a warm discussion, he started saying something. And as the discussion started flowing, this church bishop, because he had heard of Kriti Ratna Prabhu from this advocate before, that is also a very great philosopher and all that, so he was like kind of prepared to ask few questions. So he turned towards Kriti Ratna Prabhu and asked him, why do you worship black colored Krishna? Because black is not a good color. Why do you worship black colored Krishna? So when he asked this question, Kriti Ratna Prabhu smiled and he started answering him. He said, black is no color. And we understand from science also, black is actually no color. So he says, we don't worship any color of this material world. That means we don't worship any material qualities or anything which is subjected to the modes of material nature, sattva, raja and tam. We worship that transcendental object which is beyond these modes, which is completely transcendental and divine and spiritual in nature. So we don't worship black or we don't worship any color, but we worship that supreme absolute truth which is beyond the material modes of nature and material qualities. That is called Nirgun. We worship that Nirgun Brahman. So the church bishop, when he heard this, then he was satisfied, and then he quickly asked another question. And he said, okay, I can understand that, because we should definitely worship somebody who is completely supreme. So I'm understanding what you're trying to say, though it was difficult for him to actually understand the whole thing because he doesn't have the complete understanding of Shuddha Gaudiya Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti from the line of Gaudiyas. But still he was satisfied. And then he asked another question. He said, then why you worship fair complexion Gauranga Mahaprabhu? If you don't worship black, you worship black, I understand, but then why gold? Because Mahaprabhu's complexion is golden, fair complexion. So then Kirtiratna Prabhu answered, he said, in this world, whatever you see is a combination or resultant effect of different mixtures of three modes of material nature. So these modes are abominable and they are always distressful. So they cause always suffering. Anything in connection to these material modes can never give us happiness and peace because it in itself is distressful. But beyond this world, in the transcendental world, that place is full of all spiritual and transcendental attributes. There are so many good virtuous qualities. And Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu embodies all those good divine qualities. His bodily luster reflects a combination of all those wonderful spiritual colors. And then he gave very nice example in order to make it understand for the church bishop. He said, just like we see the sunlight is white, but actually if we analyze it, then we'll see it is actually a combination of 7 different colors. And in English we have that vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. So he said, just like sometimes some sun is shining and also there's some sprinkles of rain there, then a rainbow is formed. And in that rainbow we can see 7 colors. But when they are coming together, then it is seen as a white light. So
golden color.
Golden complexion, golden color. Sunlight. So similarly, Sri Gaurachandra, his bodily luster actually is a mixture of all those transcendental beautiful qualities, wonderful qualities. So that's why we worship Sri Gaurachandra. And now this church bishop was like he completely dumbstruck. He could not speak anything more because it was completely so scientific and so logical explanation that he was just admiring. So then he was feeling a little bit in his heart, but still he tried to keep his sentiments together, emotions, and then he again spoke. He said, okay, but why there is need of worshipping a cowherd boy? You are worshipping a cowherd boy. I don't understand this, I cannot understand this. Then Kirtiratna Prabhu said, yes, you cannot understand because you worship a shepherd. When a shepherd can be worshipped, then why cannot we worship a person who is taking care of cows? And cows, they are so wonderful and they're so helping, they're like mother, they're nourishing the whole world. So why cannot we worship that? So then the church bishop and the advocate, yes, both of them, they were really impressed and enamored and they were so happy. And they glorified Param Guruji's presence of mind and his explanation. And then he... Yes. And all this was in the presence of Sri Abhay Prabhu because it was his house and he was present there in that discussion.
He embraced Guru Maharaj. Abhay Charan. Oh, you are so intelligent. And then he used to respect so much. And that is why he took sannyas from him. And he saw that Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, my friend, my elder God brother, he is very near and dear to Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. He can help me. And that is why he came to Mathura and he took sannyas from him. I was witness, I was priest, I made sannyas dress, done everything and gave to Swamiji. My Guru Maharaj wanted that he should. He is very qualified person and especially he is master of English literature. He can preach everywhere this mission. And then he gave sannyas and he took. Swami Maharaj was not a very
ordinary person.
So if he has accepted him like sannyas guru, elder brother, how he should be high class of devotee. You can imagine. Very good. Go on.
So we see throughout his life, in his all circumstances, he was so much active and very sharp in his movements that people would definitely get carried away by his personality, and they would just offer it themselves with their hearts to him and just take him in their heart and give him a place there. So similarly, in the same section of the book, Srila Guru Maharaj has explained how Param Guruji was so strongly and with completely irrefutable arguments, he has defeated and cutted the Mayavad forest, the forest of impersonalism. Actually, he has compiled a book which is called History of Impersonalism, and he went back so much deep into it that he started from Satya Yuga and brought that what is the origin of Mayavad, what is Mayavad, how it came till this point. And he has actually, it seems that he was not just it's difficult to conceive a little bit, because we understand since the time he came in the mutt. In the morning we were hearing that he was managing the whole Chaitanya mutt, but factually when he came there was nothing to manage actually, because Srila Prabhupada was himself and there were one or two brahmacharis, there was nothing to manage. All the state and everything was actually taken over by these Muslims, and they were not paying taxes and anything. So Param Guruji, when he saw Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's concern for this thing, that is actually land of Mahaprabhu, is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's land and is not being used in their service. So noticing the mood of his guru and taking his permission, he began, and one by one he actually got hold of all the land, and then it all began to flourish, and many new devotees started coming. And later on, if we have time, we'll also hear how Pujya Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj came to much by Srila Param Guru Maharaj's association. He was so much, because his cooking was so delicious. Not just his Siddhanta or his Bhakti, his every activity, his architecture, how to install deities, how to make temples, was so accurate, and it would always have deep philosophical input, that how everything is a reflection of the spiritual world in this world, transcendental world. So he actually did everything, and since that day he was always engaged in managing everything, taking care of devotees and everything. So we wonder, when does he had the time to read these scriptures, these bhakti granthas, so that he's able to give so much nice explanation of that. And at that time, when we heard that how he was sitting under the jackfruit tree and his feet were on the table and he was in the chair and he was flipping like this, and all the sannyasis were coming, they were paying obeisances, going in the temple room, and Srila Maharaj was very much astonished to see. At that time, Srila Prabhupada called him later on, because he was amazed why he is not reciprocating. This white colored person who is wearing white dress, he should reciprocate, and he's not reciprocating, so it feels that he's very proud of his own position or something like that.
Very teeny aged.
Yeah.
Not so aged.
Yes. So when they came and reported this matter to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, then he called Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, and he said, "What were you doing?" And he said, "I was sitting on the chair." And he said, "What were you doing? You were sitting and something was happening?" He said, "Yes, I was going through all the 550 sutras of Vedanta and arranging them nicely so that I can give explanation and express it in a certain way." So his sitting was also not like simple sitting. He was going through Vedanta sutras, which is something that not any ordinary person can even think of understanding, written by Srila Vyasadeva. It's very strong. So in this Mayavad, in the history of impersonalism, he has not just given Vaishnava logics or doctrines on impersonalism, but he has also given all the questions from the sides of Shankaracharya and other people who are speaking in favor of impersonalism. So he is quoting from their scriptures. So he's read even all the books and quoting them everywhere, and then he's refuting them one by one. So they cannot ask any further questions anymore. So at one place he says, Acharya Shankar, he is well-known propagator of Mayavad. So his Gurudev, from whom he took initiation, is Govindapad. And Govindapad's Gurudev is Gaudapad. So Srila Param Gurudev writes, Sri Gaurupad is actually well known in the line of impersonalism because he has written one commentary on Vedanta Sutra, giving impersonal...
Not Vedanta Sutra.
Mandukya Karika.
Mandukya Karika.
Vedanta Sutra didn't know. So he's written a commentary on impersonalism, impersonal philosophy, and it's called Mandukya Karika. And Sri Govindapal, his disciple, did not wrote anything. So actually Acharya Shankar is taken to be disciple of Gaurupad because he accepted his own moods and he propagated everything, what Gaurupad said. So he wrote commentary on Mandukya Karika, Sri Acharya Shankar Pad, and which is very much respected. So when Gaurupad has left this world, or he has achieved his mukti, what they were propagating in the line, and after Govindapad has also left this world, then one day it is mentioned, this is in the life history of Acharya Shankar, Srila Param Gurudev is quoting, it's mentioned in his life history. One day he was sitting in his trance, and as he was sitting in his trance, his grand Gurudev, grand spiritual master, appeared to him, Gaurupad, and he said, "Oh Shankar, I am very pleased, and your Gurudev, that is my disciple Govindapad, has informed me that you have written very beautiful commentary on my work, Mandukya Karika, and he's appreciating it so much. I want to see, please bring it to me." So Acharya Shankar was very much happy to see his grand spiritual master, and he was talking to him, quickly brought this commentary written by him and presented to his grand spiritual master Gaurupad, and he saw that he was very much happy. Yes, you have done very good, and he blessed him, and then he left from there. So Srila Param Gurudev says, now this is like in the ending chapters of the book, and throughout he is very nicely explained and put all the points what Mayavad is saying. So what they basically say, I'll just speak like few sentences so that we can connect to what Srila Param Gurudev is going to say. Mayavad philosophy says that Brahma, or the supreme truth, according to them, is completely void. It does not have any qualities, is devoid of any attributes.
No shape, no attribute, no power, nothing.
Nothing. And when a jiva, which is actually Brahma himself, why? Because of the influence of Maya. The Brahma is seen as jiva. So when one attains this knowledge that he is Brahma itself, and Maya is uncovered, then he merges in Brahma. His own spiritual identity or his individual self is completely annihilated, and he becomes one with Brahma. He becomes Brahma because he is Brahma himself to begin with. So they don't agree to existence of anything. There is no form, there is no shape, there is no qualities, there is nothing, there is no interaction, there is no two persons, there is only one thing which is Brahma. Nothing more exists. So Srila Param Gurudev says, when they are saying all these things, then how come it is possible in the first place that Govindapad and Gaurupad, they were talking to each other after they have attained mukti?
And they have become Brahma. No shape at all. How they came?
So how Govindapad could inform this act of Acharya Shankar to Gaurupad? And not only that, how Gaurupad could again appear to Acharya Shankar and talk to him? Because he cannot appear anymore, he is completely annihilated. And then, not only that, if we agree that this is true, then Acharya Shankar's life comes to seems that it is false. This thing does not happen in his life. Then they're all scriptures. The authenticity of the scriptures is completely challenged. And if we take this as truth, then how come that is possible? So then he says, we understand that actually Mayavad is nothing but it's simply word jugglery, that they try to trap people in that. And actually none of the impersonalist preachers or founders or propagators have ever attained any such mukti which they are propagating. What to speak of those who are trying to follow?
Even Shankar never attained Brahma. Because it is said in his last days
again, Acharya Shankar himself, according to the impersonalist philosophy, he has appeared again as Vidyaratna.
Huh?
Vidyaratna ke naam se?
No, Vidyaratna.
एक और नाम
He name? Vidyaranya. Vidyaranya Bharati.
He appeared again. Shri Acharya Shankar has come again in the form of Vidyaranya Bharati. So how come he attained mukti if he is again coming back? And also it is said that Acharya Shankar, he had this Shastric scriptural debate with many of the spiritual followers who were present at that time. But though he defeated many, he could never defeat any Vaishnava. And there is no instance.
He always avoided Vaishnava. Never he went to any pure Vaishnava. Because he knew that he will be defeated there. So he never went to any Vaishnava. He only went to Karmi and Jnani and others, Smarta and Bauddha, not to any pure devotee.
And it is said that in his last days, Acharya Shankar was defeated by one of the Buddhist monks. And
not Buddhist monk, Bhaskaracharya.
Was
he was
defeated,
a smart, greatest smart.
Bhaskaracharya, and they had a condition before they had this debate that one who will lose, he will give up his life by jumping into the boiling oil.
Oh, Buddhist in Tibet, Lama.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this Lama was like the head of the tradition at that time. So, and that's what happened. Acharya Shankar lost his debate and he gave up his life by jumping into the boiling vessel. That's how Sri Paramguru says that one of the very valuable jewels of impersonalism heroes was disappeared from this place, and we feel the lacking.
Very good. Thank you. Now Navin Krishna Brahmachari will speak something. Oh, sometimes I went to Pujyapat Siddhar Maharaj after my Guru Maharaj left this world.
Disappeared from this world.
And he has so much love and affection for me, Pujyapat Siddhar Maharaj. Because I used to question so many logical things that he always has so much love and affection for me. And he used to tell me answer very sweetly. So once he was telling that, do you know your Gurudev? Oh. Then he told so many stories about that when he was a student of law and in his last year he went to visit Mayapur and he wanted to meet with Srila Prabhupada. But when he entered and saw that a very teeny-aged, very beautiful brahmachari, quite dressed and beautiful, with a stick, very good stick, and well dressed, and horse, a very high class of horse was there for him, and he was doing his feet like this, keeping on a table, and so many high class of sannyasis coming to them, and respectfully folded hand. He used to ask something, and that boy, doing in same position, he used to tell something, and they do again. They used to do pranam. Who is he? This boy? I wanted to know. And when I asked this question, Siddhar Maharaj was telling, but I asked that who is that boy? He is very grave and very wonderful. Then they told, oh, you don't know. He is Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. He is very powerful. He has made this Mayapur and he had changed the shape of Mayapur. He is very near and dear to Srila Prabhupada, and his logic is very strong, and he is a very great philosopher. And after that, Sridhar Maharaj went to see Srila Prabhupada, and he was so much charmed with Srila Prabhupada. And then he decided that I should give up my worldly life and everything, and I should join this movement. And then quickly he gave up all these things and he joined. So all these disciples of Srila Prabhupada were jewels. They can conquer whole world. So there, my Gurudev was one of the best jewel of Srila Bhaktiprajnana. Go on.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। First of all, I pay my humble obeisances simultaneously my initiated Gurudev and instructed Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamananda Sai Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Sai Maharaj. After that, who assembled here to hear Harikatha, the life, history and Siddhanta of my Param Gurudev, I pay my humble obeisances to them according to their eligibility. So Gurudev ordered me to discuss something about his life history and his instructions. Today this assembly is going on his philosophical side. So I want
everything, his philosophical side and also his life, transcendental life.
So at first I want to discuss something about his philosophy. In one hand he was a great philosopher, and other hand he was a jocose Vaishnava. Sripad Premprajan Prabhu gave one example about his he was a jocose Vaishnava and another he was a great philosopher. So I want to add another point with Premprajan Prabhu. Then Premprajan Prabhu gave an example that one Guru and their two disciples Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, their mood was different, being disciple of same Guru. We can go through another example. There is a great Gurudev, name was Narad Rishi. He has one disciple, name is Dhruva Maharaj. What is his position? He was Sakam Bhakta. Another disciple was disciple of Narad Rishi was Prahlad Maharaj. There is 12 rasas, 5 are prominent and 7 are secondary. He was not even disciple of any 5 prominent rasas. In another example, Vyasdev also was disciple of Narad Rishi. By his grace, he bhakti jagena manusi sammak pranihiti amale apatsat purusam purnang mayancha jadapaswayam. By the grace of Guru Padma Srila Narad Rishi, Vyasdev saw everything in his trance. The pastimes of Krishna, the meeting with Krishna with his sakhas and his parents, and especially with gopis, which he explained everything in condensed form in Bhagavatam, because in Bhagavat he composed in some slokas. So if we go through these slokas with commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or especially in 10th canto of Sanatana Goswami Pad and Jiva Goswami Pad, then we can understand how jocose Vaishnava Srila Vyasdeva was. So being 3 disciples, one Guru there were 3 disciples, there are 3 modes. So Jiva Sarup is always fixed, but it never be changed. So we can understand by these 3 examples. And the time of Prabhupada, nowadays also we sometimes quarrel with each other. Why? For our sense gratification. But the time of Prabhupada, they also quarreled each other sometime. Very rare. Why? I shall serve Prabhupada more, I shall serve Prabhupada more. So So Prabhupada, there are two very intimate disciples.
That is Prem Kalaha.
It is called Prem Kalaha. One was Paramananda Prabhu, another was Srila Vinod Bihari Brahmachari.
They are both bosom friends.
They are both bosom friends. Somehow or other, they became disturb each other due to service of Prabhupada. I shall serve more, I shall serve more. Then once Prabhupada calls everyone and ordered Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, Vinod, stand up and glorify Paramananda. Then Param Gurudev, doing invocation slow, Mukam karati bachalam pangam lang hate girim jat kripatam hang bande Paramananda madhavam. In this sloka, Mukam karati bachalam. Mukam means who is not great Siddhantavid. If he serves Gurudev in Vishrama mood, then he will be talkative person, means he can learn all Siddhanta by grace of Guru Padma. So Mukam karati bachalam, Pongum lang hate girim. Pongu means lame person. Lame person never can cross a mountain. Here mountain means the Siddhanta of Bhakti. So if you serve Guru Padma, if you surrender yourself, the lotus feet of bona fide Guru Padma, and you serve him in Vishrama mood, then all Siddhanta will manifest in your heart by grace of Guru Padma. All mantra will manifest in your heart, they will reveal yourself by grace of Guru Padma. Spangum lang hate Jat kripa tamahang bande, by whose mercy I pray him. Who is that? Paramananda Madhavam. That means Madhav who is Paramananda. So Prabhupada disciple name also.
The servant of Madhav. He is also Paramananda.
Yes.
So I am praying this Madhav, Paramananda Madhav.
So disciple of Prabhupada, that means Paramuda's bosom friend was Paramananda. So he is Paramananda. Means this devotee of Madhav is Paramananda. That means disciple of Prabhupada. So I am praying him also, I am glorifying him. Then Paramgurudev put another sloka. Aho bhaggam, nanda gopada jaukasam, janmitra paramanandam, purna brahma sanatanam. Aho bhaggam, nanda gopada jaukasam. Oh, how fortunate of the who lives in Nanda Braj. That means who is the residents of Braj.
Nandagaon.
In Nandagaon. Not only the Brajavasis, they are also the grass, creepers and
cows,
all are Brajokasam. Then who resides in Braj. How fortunate are they? Why? Janamitram Paramanandam Purna Brahma Sanatanam. Janamitram, whose friend is who? Purna Brahma Sanatanam. Purna Brahma means who is Sen Bhagavan. What is his quality? Paramanandam. So, Param Gurudev is so intelligent. In one word, he is glorifying two. One is Paramananda Krishna, another his devotee, the disciple of Prabhupada, Paramananda Prabhu. Then Param Gurudev quoted one condensed form of Vedanta Sutra, Anandamayo Bhasat. For explaining this sloka, he quoted this Aho-bhaggam. So, who is Paramananda? In one hand, he is Supreme Personality Godhead, and another hand, he is devotee of Paramananda, disciple of Prabhupada, Paramananda Prabhu. I am glorifying both of them. So, Prabhupada became so pleased, and he is hearing his explanation of Anandamaya Bhasa. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur donate his all Vedanta Sutra to Bhakti Vinod Bihari Brahmachari.
All Vedanta Grantha.
All Vedanta Grantha, full of philosophy, all Vedanta Grantha like
Sri Bhashya, Madhva Bhashya,
Sri Madhva,
Shankar
Bhashya, all books we donate to
donated.
Our Param Gurudev Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Pt2 Maharaj.
I told that I see that only you had so much interest in Vedanta Sutra. And I see that all disciples, my disciples, they have no interest. So I want to donate my whole, these philosophical books to you. And he gave it. And then he gave a name, Upadhi, Upadhi means?
Title.
Title. Oh, Kriti Ratna. Very high class of this name. So then he told that he is a very bona fide devotee, and quickly he will preach in whole world. So we were seeing all these things.
So once we went to Mayapur with Gurudev to Param Pujya Charan Srila Bhaktiprajnana Keshava Goswami Maharaj. At that time, Srila Keshava Goswami Maharaj was explaining to Gurudev, your Gurudev was so intelligent during court case. He never think that what he has to reply. He has to reply. Suppose that he is ready as before, that he knows that they want to ask this question. So, Pujya Keshava Maharaj explained Srila Gurudev that
Gurudev means
yes.
He was explained. हाँ वही बोल चले जैसे वो किलर आज जिज्ञासा करलो गुरु महाराज के जैसे तुम्ही एखाने की करते एसेছো তোমার কি দরকার আছে এই ল ইত্যাদি কেস কোর্ট
So when he was in court, so court means according to Indian language, in Sanskrit language and Bengali Hindi Nyayalaya. So they asked Param Gurudev, why you came here in court in Nyayalaya? Then Param Gurudev replied,
only bad persons comes for quarreling, making cases, and never a saint person comes in court. Then he replied,
only bad person is to come in court who always quarrel each other. Never any saintly person came in this courtyard. Why you came here? Then Param Gurudev became so grave and replied, it is Nyayalaya. So only saintly person know what is Nyay. Nyay means appropriate.
huh?
Nyay.
What's
Nyay.
name?
Justice.
Justice. Where is justice?
Justice. So
This is a place of justice, not for bad person.
this is a place of justice, not for bad person, so I came here. Then opposite lawyer asked him, the saintly person always live in jungle, always live in forest. Why you came here? Why you are living in town? This is not good for you. Parvati told, yes, we are living in jungle. He became astonished. Well, you are living in jungle? Well, yes. Then how you are living in jungle? Then Parvati quoted one slok from Padma Purana. Ahara nidra bhayamaithunancha samannam etat pasubhi naranam dharma hitesa madhika visesa dharmena hina pasubhi samana. That means eating, sleeping, bearding, mating, this common to all as well as human beings. But speciality of human beings, they can do bhajan, they can associate with Vaishnavas. Who are not doing bhajan, who are not associating with Vaishnavas, they are two-footed and tailless animal. So, two-legged animal. So all of you are not doing bhajan. So all of you are animal. So I am living with you. So animal lives in forest. So I live with you. So I am living in forest. So Prabhupada logic was infallible. None can cut it logic. So Pujya Keshava Maharaj was telling to Gurudev that how great personality was your Gurudev. So now I am coming how Jakos he was.
Japos mane?
Jakos means Rasik Vaishnava. Jakos
Japos
Vaishnava.
mane? Rashik?
Jakos, J-A-C-O-S.
You can tell Rashik only, not Jakos. What is Jakos?
That was never heard.
No.
New, this is new.
It is Latin language, no?
No, I can show in English dictionary. I have it with me.
Oh, in Latin language. You are right. Not
So, how Rasik he was, so we can hear from Gurudev that about his Mangal Arati. And he composed also Srila Prabhupada Arati. So he composed so sweetly Prabhupada Arati. At that time, in all Gaudiya Math, especially in Chaitanya Math in Mayapur, they also recite his kirtan Prabhupada Arati Kirtan, reading Prabhupada Arati, but they don't want to mention Param Gurudev's name. Somehow or other it comes to Param Gurudev that in Chaitanya Math, nowadays they are also reciting your Prabhupada Arati. Prabhupada became so pleased. Then they told, but they are not mentioning your name. At last you mentioned that Sevadav se Narahari Chamara Dhulai, Sri Keshava Pt2 Nirajana Gai. They are not reciting your name. Then Prabhupada became so happy. No problem. But they are reciting Prabhupada Kirtan. I am so happy hearing this. In his Kirtan, he composed there are so many verses. Bhakti Siddhanta Deepa Jaliya Jagate Pancharasa Seva Sikha Pradiptata Hate. That during Arati we offer incense at first. So what is that incense? Bhakti Siddhanta Deep. That means Bhakti Siddhanta means the Siddhanta of devotion. Devotion is two types. One is called regulative devotion, another spontaneous devotion. So, and by this Arati, Param Gurudev want to teach the whole world that how great personality was Srila Prabhupada. He taught the whole world the Panchara Seva Sikha, that means the five prominent rasas, Santa, Dasa, Sakha, Vatsalya and Madhur. By his deep means lamp, is showing the whole world that Prabhupada who will take shelter of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktiprajnana Thakur, he can learn very easily all these things. So another logic I want to remember, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he mentioned in his Tattva Sandarbha, the proof of, there are 10 proofs. Pratyaksha, Paraksha, Aitijya, Sabdik, so many, Anuman, so many things. Among this Pratyaksha means, which we earn by our senses, it is called Pratyaksha. Once Srila Gurudev was traveling with Param Gurudev from Mathura to Navadvip Dham. In the meantime, one railway magistrate came and seeing them, he asked, have you seen God? Why are you worshipping God? Have you seen? Then Param Gurudev asked him, have you seen God? Why you believe in God? Then Param asked, which you have seen, you believe in God? Which you have seen, you believe that thing?
Very easy words you should again tell you.
So
very clearly.
One atheist person, railway magistrate came and asked Param Gurudev, have you seen God? Without seeing anything, I never believe. None can see God. Then Param Gurudev replied, only which you have seen, you have faith on that only? Well, yes. Which I never seen, I have never faith.
What he told?
He's saying that the railway magistrate will only believe what he sees. And if you can't show him God, then he won't believe in God.
Go.
Then Param Gurudev replied, I can prove. Without seeing so many things, you bound to believe and you have faith. Then he asked, yes, I can prove. Then Param Gurudev put one very beautiful logic. Param Gurudev replied that, what is your father's name, please? He replied, Ramdas. And who is a family member? He told, my father, my mom, my brother, my sister. Anybody else? Well, I have one servant. What is servant name? Then he utter some name. Then Param Gurudev told, the Ramdas is not your father. That servant Krishnadas is your father. I am telling. Well, how you can prove that he is your father? Have you seen ever when your parents meeting each other? Where you were at that time? So without seeing meeting your parents, how you can pay that he is your father? So without seeing anything, you bound to believe. Similarly, our scriptures like mother. Sometimes mother can tell lie, but our scripture never tell lie. So you have to keep faith in scripture, then you can see God. Only by vision of scriptures, you can see God. Otherwise, not possible. Then Paramurudev making speechless. When he bound to admit, then Paramurudev giving one example. What to say about God? You could not see your own face without help of eyes, and eyes could not see without help of mirror. So, if you want to see God, you have to take help of scriptures and help of sadhus. So he became struck down and went away.
Now time is over, and they have told so many things. I want that you should digest all these things. And other things are very philosophical, very high class of philosophy. So you cannot digest. So let first digest all these things. But I will tell that the bhajan, the backbone of bhajan, what is that? Guru Nishtha. What is Guru Nishtha? A strong faith in Guru. But you will have to see that if you have a strong faith that this tamarind tree is mango tree, then no fruit. Faith should be in a real Guru or qualified Guru. If the Guru is not bona fide, not according to Shastra, Tasmat Gurum Prapaddet Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Shadde Parecha Nishanatam Brahmanyupasamasya. If he don't know all the things, what is in his scripture, then he is actually no Guru. He should know all the logic, all the essence of the whole Shastra, Vedanta, Upanishad, Ved, Srimad Bhagavatam, Gita, Ramayana, Puran and all. Otherwise he cannot remove her doubts. So he should be qualified in this. And he should be disattached from worldly this enjoyment. Never he will be charmed with any, and he will have no worldly desire. But these are two outward symptoms.
External symptoms.
First, intrinsic nature will be there. He will be realized of Krishna. He will be very qualified in bhakti, always chanting, remembering. He will be expert how Radha and Krishna Chugal can meet. Nikunja you know, Ratikeli Siddhya, Yajalir bhi yukti, Apekshan, Tatrati Daksha, Dati Vallabhasya, Bande Guru. So all the qualities which is in Gurubhashta should be in Gurudev. And if not, especially that Sakshat Haritena Samasta Shastri Ruktastatha Bhavyeta Eva Sadabhi Kintu Prabhoyo Priya Eva Tasya Bande Guru. He is the manifestation of Baladev Prabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Akhanda Guru Tattva. He will be expert in all these things. Some realization for this, pure bhakti, love and affection. Then he is Guru. Otherwise he will fall down. And we are seeing in these worlds, oh so many lakhs and lakhs Gurus are falling down. So, Guru Nishtha is backbone of our bhajan. But that Guru Nishtha should be in the real Guru, not in these worldly Gurus. Daily 10 times, 20 times falling down. So, we should have. If you have no Guru, you should pray to Krishna. He will arrange everything. You cannot go to Gurudev. You cannot examine your Guru. your past activities and impressions, they can help you. And the pure devotees can help you. So Gurudev Maharaj always has a very high class of Guru Nishtha. Sometimes he could not utter the name of Srila Prabhupada. Then he used to tell us, point out that, oh, you should be shocked. In Ashta Shakti, because he used to. I have personally seen so many times. So, there are so many things to know about him. Especially, you can see in that book. I was always serving him. From beginning, our elder Guru brother, Pujyapat Baman Maharaj, he joined our Gurudev early at the time of Srila Prabhupada. 1930. And from 1930 he is serving our Gurudev.
69 years.
69. From 69.
69 years.
Yes, continue. We came afterward. And after, when we joined, Tribikram Maharaj and myself, and then Gaudiya Patrika, he established Gaudiya Patrika, Bhagavad Patrika, and he began a Brihad Mridanga. You know Brihad Mridanga?
Printing press.
Printing press. And by this, also many periodical, monthly, and Hindi, Bengali books were published. And he gave sannyas, Bhakti Vedanta, this Upadhi to all. First three we were, Pujyapat Baman Maharaj, Tribikram Maharaj and myself. Pujyapat Narsingh Maharaj, one of the disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami, always serving my Gurudev, like Shiksha Guru. He gave a proposal that your Gurudev wants to give renounce order to you three. Oh, we three rejected that proposal. That we are not so qualified. We see that how qualified Nemi Maharaj, how qualified Vaikhanus Maharaj, Soti Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, Siddhar Maharaj, all high class of learned persons. And they can speak so highly in all languages. Thousands and thousands of persons can be shown by them. Oh, we are not so qualified. Then he went to Gurudev and he told that, oh, they are not. They don't want. But again he came and he told that you should think that you are servant of your Gurudev. You should try to serve. And he especially told to me that your Gurudev wants that you should be given sannyas. Then I told that if he wants that I should be naked and dancing, I can act like this. I am a puppet of his hand. If he wants that I should take renounce order, whether I am not qualified or qualified, I will accept his order. Then he quickly went to Gurudev and he told that Gaur Narayan is ready. Then he told that tomorrow I will give renounce order to him. And then he went again to both. He told that Gaur Narayan is ready and Gurudev is giving. So you should decide whether you take or not.
You can consider, you can think.
Then they told that, oh, if Gaur Narayan is taking, and his logic is so okay. So we know that we are not qualified, but we want to be a puppet of our Gurudev. And then quickly we three on the Gaur Purnima, the birthday of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. were given sannyas and given name Bhakti Vedanta Vaman, Bhakti Vedanta Vikram and Bhakti Vedanta.
And Bhakti Narsingh Maharaj used to stay with you in Mathura.
54 or 53?
54, no.
54.
54. 52 perhaps. In 54 I was in Mathura. After that Swami Maharaj was given sannyas, same Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj.
But before he addressed it,
In sannyas he is junior to me.
What year?
Eh?
What year was that?
59.
59 perhaps.
Narsingh Maharaj আপনার সঙ্গে মথুরাতেই থাকতেন
Narsingh Maharaj used to live with me.
in Mathura.
I always used to serve him and he has so much faith on me. So, I also told Swamiji that you are so much qualified and now you should take a renounce order and you should preach everywhere in the whole world. Then he told me one story that when I was initiated by my Gurudev Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, I began to chant, name and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. I saw a sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Jasya aham grihnami harishe tad dharmashana. To whom
I am very specially
merciful to them, and he gives everything to me. Krishna is telling, I take very soon everything
from him. I make him
what he desires and what is so much favorable,
unfavorable.
dear to him. I quickly take his whole wealth, reputation,
Name and fame.
name, fame, family, everything. So I was fearing.
I make him a street dog.
So what should I do? But he never stopped chanting and remembering. He was telling to me, Swamiji, in Mathura, before he took sannyas. Then, after some time, I lost the service of Bengal Chemical. After some time, he came to Allahabad and he started his own medical factory in a big scale, but it was also failed. Then again he wanted to start a medical shop, and it was very famous in whole Allahabad. Our Indian Prime Minister first, Jawaharlal Nehru and his daughter, they used to come for shopping medicine. But it also failed. Then he became a street beggar, and then he came to Mathura. And at that time he told, oh, I was faring so much, and the same stage. My wife and children had kicked me. And so, like a straight beggar. Then I told that forcibly that you should take sannyas. And in meantime, Gurudev came. And I told Gurudev. And he also told him that you should take sannyas. And he agreed. And sannyas was given on the Vishwarup Khau. And then he began to preach. And very quickly, in so little time, he preached over whole world, as a miracle. Wrote so many books. Was very faithful to his Gurudev and my Gurudev. He has written so many things. For me, he has written that our relation is transcendental.
Can never be broken.
Cannot be broken. And he told that in the last, you should give me samadhi. They should not touch my body. I have brought so many disciples, like ignorant, like monkeys. But I could not
train them
so much. So I am happy that you should help them after my departure. I told that you should not worry. I will try to help them. And that is why I am coming to help. and to carry order of my Shiksha Guru Srila Bhaktiprajnana Swami Maharaj. Because he was very bosom friend to my Gurudev and also to me. In sannyas he was junior, but in knowledge and all bhakti he was so much superior to me. Lakhs and lakhs times, not one time. That is why I accepted him like my Shiksha Guru. He has also told about my Gurudev. वैराग्य जुग भक्ति रसम प्रयात अपायन मान अनुभीक्ष मंदा कृपाम बुद्धिज्य पर दुख दुखी सी केशवम आश्रयामि. This version is from Raghunath Das Goswami, for Sanatan Goswami, and he applied on my Gurudev. How he respected my Gurudev. How? Like Sanatan Goswami. He used to respect. So I respect him. Only I have come for this reason, to carry his orders, not for money, not for disciple, not for me, only to have. You should all should know that this world has made of problems, only problems. You know how Swamiji faced so many problems? Bengal Communal, famous in India, and he was manager and everything. But quickly problem came, and he has to resign from that. Who made it?
Mahaprabhu.
Huh? Mahaprabhu, Krishna made it. Oh, I am not sent you to be engaged in this. Only manager of this. Oh, you will be manager of that transcendental world. I want to make it. Then he even tried, and he started his own medical. Then Krishna, I want to take it. You have not come for this.
Being a medical representative.
Medical factory manager or owner. And quickly he took. He thought that, so big problem, how to do, no sleep, nothing. But Krishna has arranged everything from him. So you should be always, don't fear from problems.
League of Devotees.
He
made the League of Devotees.
Yes, League of Devotees. And he also collapsed. What he used to do?
Even he went to America, and even in 1 year it was so difficult. Nothing.
Yes.
But he did not give up.
So he was telling all these things to me privately. It was so near and dear to me. He has so much strong faith in me. He knew that I can serve him, and that is why he mercifully engaged me in his service. So from 1946 I am serving him. But nowadays unfortunate devotees, they don't want to recognize this, and they are cutting their legs with axe themselves. One day I pray him that one day they should recognize all these facts, and they should come in line. Otherwise they are disturbing whole ISKCON. And now ISKCON is going to be drowned in sea. They are doing all these nonsense things. I want they should come in line and they should follow Swamiji and realize all these things. They should always they should throw all these philosophy and high class of regulated, not regulated bhakti, but
spontaneous
this love. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come for this. Our Gurudev came for this. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, our whole disciplic
Guru Parampara
came for this. Swamiji has come for this. But he has to cut jungle of Maya, Bhat, Sahajiya, Sakhi, Bheke and all these things. He has written everything in his books. Everything is in book. But now they are not realizing. They are not reading, only selling and making money. So, I want that just to try to follow the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami. I was going to tell so many things, very beautiful things, but time is over, night is coming. So I am leaving it for next two, and at that time you will be some more developed, and then you can realize all these things. So I am telling that this world is made of problems. Don't be from, only one problem is there. What problem?
How to get bhakti?
So don't be fear. Don't be like us, very strong. We have left all these things, so much highly position, so much highly wealth, very high class of wealth. And everything we have left in a moment, in a second. And you will have to give up if you are not going to give up. One day, surely you will have to give up all these things. So why problem? A problem comes, and keep your feet on the heads of the problems and quickly solve. This is the thing. But we should try to serve Krishna, devotees, and go on. Problems come, you should be calm and quiet and wait. And go on chanting, remembering Krishna. Quickly it will be solved. Then you will be like Sukadeva Goswami. Wealth will call. Everything will call. Oh, come on. And then you will, never. Sukadeva, father, Das was calling. Oh, putraha.
Oh, my son.
And he was not replying. But first was replying. Oh, who is son? Who is father? And why you are doing father, putra, son. So, we have come to help in this way. Transcendental thing we will help. And we will try to solve all these questions also. So don't be worried. Have patience. By chanting name, all kinds of problems will be solved very quickly. And not solving, keep your feet on problems. No, don't be worried. Gaur Pramanam. One thing I can tell. Radha Chinta Niveshena Jasya Kantir Bilokita. Perhaps anyone has explained. You have explained. Here is the thing that we are Rupanuga Vaishnava. What is Rupanuga Vaishnava? There is Raganuga Vaishnava. Raga means a spontaneous love towards Krishna. But Rupanuga are special. Among whole Raganuga, there is special. This special mood of Rupa Goswami. Who was Rupa Goswami? He was the Rupa Manjari of Srimati Radhika. If they are serving to Radha Krishna conjugal, but yet inclination where? In the lotus feet of Radhika. If any prem kala is going on between Radha and Krishna themselves, in playing, gambling or anything, if Krishna is defeated by Radhika, also will clap and very happy. But if Srimati Radhika is defeated by Krishna, oh, my Sakhi. Always being in the side of Radhika, always serving whole day, night with Radhika. In pleasure of Radhika, they will use it. And in separation for, will be very feeling separation for Radhika. They cannot उनको सांत्वना नहीं दे सकती. Pacify. Lalita can pacify. Because she has equal love for Radha and Krishna. But they cannot pacify Radha. Why? Because they are also lamenting like How they can? Because they are of Radhika, always of Radhika. If Lalita is coming, they will ask this Rup Manjari that can we go to conjugal? Without permission of Rup Manjari he will not come, though he is so high from then Rup Manjari. But they will have to take permission from this. So this is intrinsic nature of Rup Manjaris. So our Guru Maharaj wanted to explain all these things. Radha chinta nimeshena jasakantir vilopita. Our Radhika should not lament for Krishna. Krishna should lament and feel separation mood for Radhika. Then it is better. Why Radhika will be? She should be Swadhin Bhartrika. Sri Krishna should come and he should give his bansi, float, and his feather called peacock feather in the lotus feet of Radhika, and he should apologize from Radhika. Oh Radhika, I will not offend again. I am taking vow. So Krishna should do. He should always lament for Srimati Radhika. So this is the intrinsic nature of Rupanuga Vaishnava. So my Gurudev was a pure Rupanuga Vaishnava. There are so many things to say. Today is now. And you should digest what they have told, and you should be qualified to digest all these things, and be prepared your ears and heart to hear all these things. Don't try to follow only outward. Try to go very deep, and it will come from any realized, something realized, realization in Gurudev, in Vaishnava, then all will. So I am happy that you are coming and participated in my Vyas Puja of my Gurudev. One thing, at this day we have seen from my own eyes, Guru Maharaj used to give proper respect to his all God brothers, whether he was junior or senior, to all. And he used to worship, beginning from Prabhupada, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, Bhaktiprajnana Keshava, and all disciples to Krishna. Pancha, Krishna Panchakam, Vyas Panchakam, Acharya Pancha, Guru Parampara Panchak, Tarta Panchara, 7 kinds of Panchakam, 7 into 5.
35.
Proper respect. For each Guru, he used to have one kalash. Kalash means?
Pitcher.
And calling them in that pitcher, he used to worship. Om Krishnaya Namah, O Vasudevaya Namah, Pradyumna Nuradhaya, all. O Madhvacharjaya Namah, Ramanujacharjaya Namah, Om Nimbaditacharya Namah. And by all these things, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, like Guru Tattva, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti, Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktiprajnana Thakur, Jagannath, like this, all he used to respect all. So if you are not respecting all these things, it means you cannot have. Coming through Guru Parampara Krishna. And if of this garland one is taken, what will be?
It will be broken.
All will scatter. So this is like a garland, a spontaneous coming from in a line. So if you are not respecting, you are respecting only your Gurudev, not his all disciples, his God brothers and his Guru Parampara, then what is means? That you are nonsense. Nonsense and rascal in his word. He used to use this rascal word everywhere. And also he is speaking. I have heard, oh rascal. So they are like rascals, not understanding all these things. So we should try to obey all. We should give proper respect to all senior and junior God brothers. If they are not God brothers, only chanting remember. Oh, do pranam by mind. Think that these are on in our Gaur family. So we are all in family. Whether you are not initiated by my Gurudev, but yet we are in a very big family of Gaur Chandra. Whether he is in line of Mahaprabhu, Janwat Thakurani, Bir Chandra, Narottam Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, go on in Baldev Prabhu, in Shyamananda Prabhu family, where you are, you should be there. We should respect all. Among them, who was Rupanuga Vaishnava, we should respect more. And if this, your heart is not like this, you cannot have Krishna. Even your all unearth will not go, offenses will not go. So we should try to be like that. Gaur Praman Gurudev Diwala
गुरुदेव दया करके मुझको अपना लेना गुरुदेव दया करके मुझको अपना लेना गुरुदेव दया करके मुझको मैं संत का सेवक हूँ
you should explain the purpose of this song, Hindi song. You remember?
Gurudev, therefore.
কয়েকটা বইয়ে সিগনেচার করে দিলে ভালো হতো, নিজের ডোনার তারাকে উপহার দিতেন।
আমি বুঝতে পারছি না।
কয়েকটা বই সই করে দিতেন গ্রন্থে, যারা ডোনার ওনাকে উনি দিতেন।
হ্যাঁ, you should.
So we heard this one.
You want that I should sign my name? Oh, yes. Go on.
So we heard this wonderful, nice prayer
binding.
of
It is very
a
well
sincere disciple
That's
towards his Gurudev,
I should sign.
and actually all the words of this prayer carry in them the real siddhanta of our line, of how one sincere disciple prays and receives the mercy of his Gurudev. It's expression of his deep emotions for his Gurudev. So it says in the first line,
How many copies?
Gurudev daya karke mujhko apna lena. Oh Gurudev, you're so merciful, you're ocean of mercy. So please accept me and make me the servant of your feet. The same mood is expressed by Srila Bhaktiprajnana Thakur in Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, where he says, Yogyata bichare kichu nahi pai, tomar karuna sar. And for this line he says, Karo more atma sar. So please accept me. So same mood is conveyed in this line, that please accept me and make me your servant. And that is my eternal position, to be your servant. दया करके मुझको अपना लेना, मेरी नाव भंवर डोले उसे पार लगा देना. That I am wandering in this ocean of material suffering, and what is the boat I am carrying? This boat of this body. This body is referred as boat, and in this material ocean it is suffering. Always is swaying on every side, and is not sure when it will sink in the water, in this ocean. So sometimes we see in the ocean there is whirlpool, in the whirlpool, and it is so dangerous that even any ship comes in that whirlpool, then it cannot be saved. This is so strong, and it's completely heading for end. So similarly, he says, my position in this material world is like a ship in the whirlpool. So please save me. You can take me out. Otherwise, nobody has the power to take me out of that. And then he says, Karuna nidhi naam tera karuna barsao tum, soye hue bhago ko he nath jagao tum. O ocean of mercy, O Srila Gurudev, because your name is Karuna Nidhi. What is Karuna Nidhi? Treasure house of mercy. He has no partiality for anyone. His mercy is impartial and equal to all. Yet, those who are completely surrendered themselves, and they have given this surrender unconditionally, without any want, to them, of course, they will definitely realize the mercy of Gurudev in a much more deeper sense than others. Yet, Srila Gurudev is equal to all. He is not partial to anyone. So he says, your name is the treasure house of mercy, so give me that mercy. And with this mercy, what will happen? My fate, my fortune. What is my real fortune? My real fortune is that I am servant of Krishna, and I am always engaged in my eternal service to Krishna, in those relishing those wonderful pastimes and exchanges. But right now, I am completely deprived of this fortune. Or, in a sense, as expressed in this sentences, in this prayer, that my fortune is sleeping. It's in the latent position. So, please wake it up, wake me up, and let me have access to this wonderful fortune, which is actually mine, which I actually possess, but because of my engrossed entanglement in this material world, I am not able to access it. But Gurudev is the one, Srila Gurudev, Sadgurudev is the one person who has the power to wake up, to clear this. Nobody else can do. As we heard in our earlier discourses also, that only by the mercy of Gurudev one can realize these things. And then he says, Tum sukh ke sagar ho, bhakti ke sahare ho. And as Srila Gurudev mentioned, that when he began his discourse, he was saying that the backbone of our bhajan is what? Guru Nisha. So same thing is said, तुम सुख के सागर हो भक्ति के सहारे.